Hello, sunshines, Sunday sweetie pies. Tune in for the next episode, episode 12. Chuffing Big reveal. It's a secret moat off my mate Chuffing Big Rob. You're in for the chuffing scene. Be there or chuffing B square. Or circle or triangle, whatever shape you want to be. But be there. Later, sweetie pies.
Now, this is quite possibly, I'm going to admit this, I've got to say this now. This is quite possibly the most excited, the most thrilled and tantalised I've ever been on the Chuffing, doing an episode of the Chuffing Big Al show. Now, if my brain is not telling me face this piece of information, I look as gormless as ever, I apologise. But I don't know if you can see it in my face, but I'm chuffing excited. I'm stimulated. I'm maxed out with stimulation and excitement because today is the Chuffing Big unveiling of the Chuffing mystery mold. Now, I'm totally in the dark. Absolutely totally not. You could blindfold me. You could chuffing put my shades back on. You could put a great big chuffing sack over my head. Dig a chuffing 20-foot hole. Throw me in. Chuffing bury me up. And I couldn't be any more in chuffing dark. I ain't got a bloody clue what's in here. For all I know, inside this chuffing little box of delights here. I mean, it might be a prank. Just having a little sniff. It might be a chuffing half-eaten kebab. I don't know. It's been brought to my attention that I have an habit of saying chuff a lot. And chuffing. Somebody says I sound like a chuffing steam train. So I'm going to see if I can get, for the next 5 or 6 seconds, just bear with me. I know this may come across as being absolutely chuffing, the most ludicrous thing you've seen in a while. I'm going to try and get out of my system. And then we're going to see how we get on for the rest of the episode. So just bear with me. Chuff, chuff, chuffy, chuffy, chuffing, chuffing, chuffed in, chuff, chuff, chuffing, chuff, 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 chuff. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your patience in these difficult times. I'm excited. Generally chuffing too. Rob, cheers, mate. But if it's a bottle of bells, there's friendships chuffing over, mate. Okay? Just so you bloody know. Just so you know! Now, I've done no research on this, obviously, because I didn't know what it were. And I'm not going to start shouting over there asking Flaming Alexis. You don't know no anyway. I talk to her and she gives me all sorts of crazy answers. There's never any answer to questions I'm asking her. Fucking gormless, man. I think she's been on more whiskey than me. We're going to start off with bloody shot glasses. Classically, like the ones you see in the Chuffing Westerns. We've talked about it before. Chuffing Robert Mitchum, Lee Van Cleef, Clint Eastwood, Chuffing Lee Marvin. I nearly said Marvin Gaye there. He's a bloody soul singer. Different character. Different person, completely. He's a musician, they're actors. So I got confused there. And I've not been drinking. Chuffing Barmaid has got that big chuffing big boobies. The Chuffing RT and you can see everything. You know what I mean? I didn't direct these films. These films exist. They're captured forever, timelessly on flipping Polaroid. I didn't direct them. Me now, I wouldn't have something like that. Well, I would. Why not? I've been in pubs. I'm not going to name and shame, but I've been in pubs in this local vicinity. In this area, where I've walked in just for a flaming beer. Pub I don't go in very often, you know, granted. But I go in, everyone bloody stops. They're all bloody gulping at you. They're nudging each other and bloody muttering and whispering. And you feel, in the words of Oz, out of Alvida's Pet, you feel about chuffing welcome as you're chuffing farted asses ourselves. You know what I mean? It don't make you want to chuffing stay in there bloody slurping all night. You're down a pint of Guinness as if it's a shot of whiskey and you're chuffing skedaddle because you just... It's not a very kind of relaxing, chuffing environment, you know what I mean? It's not, but the story behind this little bad boy is apparently the workers in that neck of Chuffing was back in day. You know what I mean? Before bloody health and safety and all that bloody stuff. I'm not going to say shy, because it saves people, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? When things were a little bit more loose. Look looser than a bloody camel's guts after a chuffing dodgy kebab. You know what I mean? When things were a little bit more loose, what they used to do over 8 time, they do 4 or 5 hours chuffing graft. And then they get one of these. Maybe 2 or maybe 3. And say if they're laying like train tracks, up until break, straight as a chuffing die. After break, chuffing like this. like a chuffing snake. And foreman comes back. Bloody, what you done to me chuffing snake, lad? I don't know what you mean, mate. The chuffing pissed her off bloody cut. Don't drink at work. It's dangerous. But like we said in preview, you do what you want. Don't let anybody tell you. Don't let Big Al or anybody else tell you what to do with your chuffing whiskey. If you want to chuffing, put it on the stove or bung it in microwave and get it chuffing boiling before you drink it, do it, but just don't burn your tongue. I'm not advising that you burn your tongue with chuffing boiling hot, chuffing Glenmorangie. I'm just saying, you have it how you want it, but it's to keep your fingers off the whiskey so it don't eat up. This one. Da, 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 da. You undo that, which I'll drop it all of it shuffling floor. I did that because I know you'd enjoy it, you know what I mean? Made a nice sound, didn't it? Let's say, I've not been drinking, I promise. Right, so you turn it upside down. Whoops, pour whiskey all over the floor. This is bloody live television. This is what happens. You see it all here. You turn it upside down. I'll not demonstrate it because there's obviously still a bit of whiskey. Do not adjust your sets. I don't care what you're watching. You could be watching on TV. You could be watching on bloody mobile. You could be watching on your stuffy tablet. Do not adjust it. There really is chuffing two craniums on display here. Now, one thing I've got to get for security reasons. I'm only going to tell you his first name. I'm not going to tell you his second name. I'm not going to tell you where he lives because you know 33 chuffing subscribers now. I'm a big chuffing deal. And if anyone gets wind of who he really is or where he chuffing lives, they'll be around there with chuffing paparazzi trying to knock his chuffing back doors in. And if one thing I will not have is chuffing Big Rob's back doors being knocked in. It's not that kind of chuffing party. He's here for a whiskey tasting. Before we do that, right, two craniums, what does that mean? Chuffing two noses, that means 4 nostrils. Twice the firepower for the chuffing Big Al chuffing smelling. Also means chuffing 2 mouths and God knows how many teeth. Twice the firepower for the chuffing Big Al tasting. It also means 4 eyes, or in our case, you're chuffing 8 eyes because we've both got glasses on. 4 nipples, unless he's chuffing Scaramanga in disguise, unless it's chuffing 5, the man with the golden gun. 2 belly buttons, 2 sausages, and 4 gonads. You've heard it here. First ever on the Big Al show. Chuffing 4 chuffing gonads, so stick around for you're in for a bloody treat.
The tasting session.
If we're looking a little bit chuffing pissed, it's because we're chuffing out. What have we had? What was the first pint we had there, Rob?
We had the Hawkstone.
The Hawkstone. Tasty treat. I weren't sure at first. I thought maybe a bit carbonated. Smooth as the chuffing silk on the chuffing camel's bloody ballsack. Beautiful. Second pint?
Second pint, we had the Rolling Man.
The rolling, I'm a steady rolling man. I'm sure that's a Robert Johnson song, covered by Eric Clapton. Very nice, very fruity, very flavoursome, bit more gassy. After that, me and Rob's conversation, halfway through chuffing sentences, we were chuffing burping and farting and all sorts of chuffing shenanigans, but that kind of shit happens, you know what I mean? Right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
For a little chuffing sample. Left nostril, right nostril, left nipple. There we go. A little more for you. Hear that chuffing sound? I don't know if microphones, but hear that. Oh, get yourself fruit chuffing pearly gates. That's what you're going to hear here, I'm telling you. Right. Left nostril, right nostril, left nipple, right nipple, belly button. Here we go. Let's have a proper sniff now. Jack Daniels number 7 is absolutely, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you're sniffing that, you're already starting to formulate a chuffing headache in my book. You can get an hangover by just chuffing sniffing the bloody thing, you know what I mean? So here we go. Down the chuffing arch. Get it right chuffing tonsils. Because Rob, you might not know this about young chuffing Rob, it's not going to embarrass him. His favourite, I think, bourbon up to now is probably, what's your favourite bourbon up to now?
One you got me, the Jim Beam Black Edition.
Chuffing Jim Beam Black. Forget your chuffing white. We're going for chuffing demonic stuff. Yeah. Away from light side into chuffing shadows. You know what I mean? That's where chuffing good flavours are hanging about. You know what I mean? Or chuffing. It's like when you go to a chuffing nightclub. You know what I mean? Where is all that kind of chuffing mirrors and all chuffing lights dancing around? All that, you stay away from there. You go into chuffing shady corners, don't you? That's where all the chuffing action is. He knows it. He knows it's chuffing car. He's chuffing been there. You know what I mean? I've heard the stories. I'm not going to divulge. We do not name or shame on the Big Al show, but this guy, some of the stories he's told me over years is maybe chuffing big toenails curl back. Ended up with chuffing perm toenails after he told me his chuffing story. I'll tell you that for now.
I liked it, Rob weren't so sure about this one. Chuffing Jack Daniels,
Bonded.
50 chuffing % featuring on a future chuffing episode.
Blows your head off.
Blows your head chuffing clean off, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
cheers.
you can't always assess truly a whiskey from the first chuffing tasting. You've got to get your chuffing clack and adjust it, you know what I mean? Yo, Rachel, I said Georgia! Woo! So we'll cut him loose with that, and then me and Rob might see in a few chuffing winks of a chuffing, I don't know, spiral whales, chuffing gallbladder. See you later. Sunshine and sun sweaty pies. It's up there. One thought, me and Rob, we got his heads together. Because we do that sometimes. We're thinking men. We're not just chuffing eye candy. We're not just chuffing crumpet. We're also intellectual type people. Very philosophical. But we'd just like to say one last thing. It's been a pleasure talking to you chuffing guys today. And we'd like to do a bit of chuffing. Chuff, 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 chuff. See you later, sweet. And we'd go. One of us or both of us go on, Grandad. Chuffing, sink it in one. Going, didn't need much encouragement with that chuffing first one. So he's chuffing, I'd be looking at bloody ceiling, mouth would be at full chuffing gape like a bloody hippopotamus. So sometimes I used to look at his mouth looking for chuffing tusks, you know what I mean? I've never seen his tail go like that though, at back end and turds were flying everywhere. I don't think he was a hippo, but mouth really opened up. And it'd take about maybe 7-8 seconds, chuffing pints gone. So he'd whack chuffing froth off his mouth, quick chuffing belch, straight back to the bar because he wants another one, you know what I mean? Come back with chuffing nudging each other. Go on, Grandad, go for chuffing double, go on. Go for chuffing double. 60% of the time he'd do it. Maybe not quite as fast as first time, but chuffing, it'd be going down, you'd see it chuffing sinking, top of the liquids, bloody vibrate, oscillating like this as it's going down, it's chuffing clacky, you know what I mean? Look, a bigger belch, go back to the bar again. Now, maybe 2 or 3 times, in all times that we were doing this kind of stuff, we made him do chuffing hat trick. And he basically just gulped down 3 chuffing pints of chuffing bitter in succession. But that was a rarity. Bloody 6 or 7 of them, you know what I mean? 7 or 8 of them. Chuffing pack of card comes out, starts getting dealt out. They're playing bloody solo. Card game called solo. A couple of hours later, they're playing chuffing Chewbacca, but that's a different story, you know what I mean? But they're playing solo. My granddad nudged me. He says, get your son to bar. He says, get me a chuffing beer away. I says, I'll get me son a coat. He says, you won't. He says, you bloody won't, mate. He says, you'll have a chuffing beer with me. Well, get your son bloody up. Let's bloody lip. So I went up, went to the bartender. Little kid, I mean, we're fairly big for my age, but you know what I mean? You could tell I weren't 18, you know what I mean? So I goes up to the bar, and I said, 2 pints of bitter, please. And the bartender says, who are you with? I said, oh, it's my granddad, Ken. Oh, yeah, all right. No questions asked. Chucking straight out with bloody beer across, took him back. Granddad's bloody throwing it down. He's not racing like with me and our Scott with that previous story, but he's drinking while I'm trying to keep chuffing up with him. Went up again. Another 2 pints. Went up again. 3 pints in. Went up again. 4 pints in. Last one, he had a 5th pint, and I said, I'll just have an half. So I had 4.5 pints of beer. I never sucked beer like that before. You know, at that age, you know what I mean? I went at home with my mum and dad chuffing, flaming, slurping down 4, 5, 6 pints of beers on the night side. You know what I mean? I was drinking bloody Lucasade and Dr. Bloody Pepper and 7-Up and Sprite and all that. Lucas, I like shite. And then when we finally left, as soon as the air hit me, I'm chuffing, wanting to stagger about, I'm wanting to bloody slur, I'm trying not to stagger, I'm trying not to slur, because I feel like I don't want to let him chuffing out. He knew I was chuffing rat ass, he knew I was pissed. Gets back to the house, man, like, what have you done with him? Bloody hell's chuffing bells, you know what I mean? So what's he been slurping?